Game one in the books. Game two coming up Sunday at Red Bull Arena. We have become weekly chat buddies. It's Chris Doran, who's the radio voice of the Columbus Crew. Chris, I would say it had to have been a big surprise the way that game unfolded. My partner Steve Jolly and we spent a little bit of time in our pregame show, at least, talking about almost nobody giving Red Bull a chance in that game number one. Not necessarily in the series, which is far from over at this point. Getting a goal in the first half, and I would say playing a little bit more old school Red Bull with being in the face of Columbus. Can't say that the Crew didn't have opportunities because they did. Carlos Cornell, a big night, but I guess the trick would be what's the concern level for Columbus right now going into a game on the road?
Doc, always great to talk to you. Out of the field and into the locker room on Sunday night or Tuesday night, I beg your pardon, it was clear that the message from the coaching staff was there's no need to panic. So let's go back to your first point, not expecting to get the result that you got on Tuesday night at lower.com. I can understand why. We're riding a string of sellouts. The place is loud. It's raucous on game night, and the Crew have been very, very good at home over the last 2 years. That said, I think the way the Red Bulls imposed themselves on Columbus and the way they were able to get that first goal put them in a position where they could only just maximize on what got them there and then build on it in the second half. And you're right, Carlos Cornell, I thought was exceptional, maybe the best game he's had in a long time. He's not made 8 saves in a game all season, as we both know, and he did that on Tuesday night. So he comes up with a great performance. We're not able to unlock the back line with the numbers that the Red Bulls had in that defending third, and we run out of time, plain and simple. But the message in the locker room is everyone keep calm. Let's go back to work. We learned some things, and in that learning, we'll try some things on the training field, and then we'll go ahead and apply them on Sunday night.
Chris, did you get a sense, having seen Columbus in all of the games that they played, which isn't just the 34 in the regular season, between Leagues Cup and the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and some high presser situations? I got the sense a little bit from Columbus, because it's happened so many times for them during the course of the year. At some point, as the game went on, I almost felt like they just figured out that it would go back their way, and it didn't. And soccer is a weird sport like that, where you might
Mm-hmm.
feel like, hey, we're the better team, or we've got whatever the final numbers were, 80% of the possession. We have some real good opportunities, but sometimes the ball doesn't fall your way. And I can understand the message coming out of it would be, don't panic. We can certainly win on the road, but there has to be that little bit of doubt now, thinking, wow, we had this amazing regular season, and you are 90 minutes away from having that all kind of crash and burn in the first round of the playoffs.
Well, you're right about the fact that the team has been in a position like this before, though in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, they did not lose a game and then go on the road to make up for it. They were in a position where they went into some really tough places, like Monterrey twice, and they had to get results, and they did. That final game in Pachuca, notwithstanding, that was a strong performance on the road in some tough spots. So I would say that a trip to Harrison on Sunday is going to be close to that. And we know that Harrison was a really great place for the Red Bulls, especially early on in the season. So I think Columbus is up for the challenge. They welcome the challenge. Coach Wilfried Nancy told us today it's one of the reasons why he got into coaching. If someone told you as a head coach you're going to win every game, well, what's the challenge in that? So he's spending time on the training field, helping the guys understand that we've had lessons learned over the last 2 weekends, even though we got a win in the first one and on Tuesday got the loss. There are still ways that we can improve this team and be successful on Sunday. Win or lose, come out of it knowing that you applied some new things and got better in the process.
Curious on this, as you and I have this recording on Thursday. Happy Halloween, by the way. On a Thursday, I don't know that it's been determined yet. Clearly, not having a Diego Rossi available on Tuesday night was a hindrance to Columbus. And whether or not he is available for the remaining part of the season, he's almost like that extra guy that, to me, Columbus was kind of missing. A little bit more pressure in behind, a little bit more of a combination with Cucho Hernandez. Don't know if he's going to play this weekend. Don't know if he is better with a bad back, as I read during the course of the week. But clearly, that's a piece that Columbus missed on Tuesday night. Fair to say.
I think you always want to have your entire roster available. I think Diego Rossi is by nature going to bring a dynamic to the attack that maybe is unmatched by other players on the field, unless of course you've got the money to spend, on your EPL team. So Rossi is one unique character in the mix, and you're right. Does Christian Ramirez bring the same sort of dynamic movement when he checks back in? No, but Christian can hold a ball in the midfield. Rossi is a little bit more of a guy who's going to go forward at pace and put the back line under a lot of pressure. We've got that in a Max Arfston. We had it in the subs, DeJuan Jones, for example, on one flank, and Mo Farsi did a nice job too. So I'll acknowledge that Rossi is unique in what he brings. And yes, Columbus has enjoyed success when Rossi, Cucho, and Christian Ramirez are on the field at the same time. I think we'll probably see a little bit of Diego on Sunday. How much, I don't know. But he has been, I will say it has been acknowledged by the coaching staff, and I'm not keeping secrets. I want to just make sure I frame this properly. It has been acknowledged that he will be available on Sunday. To what extent, I just don't know.
When you think of it, you said the last couple of days on the training pitch, lessons learned, and Wilfred Nancy has shown himself to be a really good tactician. It does now become, in a lot of ways, a chess match. Are you planning on a Red Bull team that's going to do what they did on Tuesday? Or is it a Red Bull team knowing that they've got this game in hand that sits back a little bit and almost tries to play more Columbus style, dare I say? And is it Columbus that now says, we're going to get in the face of New York? I think because of the nature of the series, and I would imagine you agree with me on this, I think the coaching tactical perspective of this middle game, knowing that New York won on the road, is fascinating in so many ways, because it is which team hums off of what works and what team is going to adjust from what did not work on Tuesday.
Right. Good point, Doc. And I was thinking about that on my drive back from training this morning. I was thinking, what are the Red Bulls going to change? Everything went right for them on Tuesday night, including a great performance from their goalkeeper. Now, if he can duplicate 85% of that performance on Sunday night, then you've got that taken care of. What more needs to change? I don't know. You had the personnel you wanted, right? For the most part, everyone's healthy that you want on the field, either as a sub or as a starter. So it really is incumbent upon the crew to come up with something a little different. And so, I agree with you. It is a bit of a chess match. I think Columbus is going to find maybe a solution in the starting personnel. We saw that the Red Bulls struggled with the fatigue factor in defending as much as they possibly could by about the 65th minute. And that opened some doors for Columbus, though they weren't necessarily able to maximize the opportunities. Are you able to sustain that defensive posture with a high line and deal with a Diego Rossi coming off the bench, who's going to give you 25 minutes plus kicks from the penalty spot in finishing up the game? I'm not really sure. I don't know. So I agree with you. It's going to be really fun to see how it sets up and then to see how it plays out.
Sunday afternoon, Red Bull Arena, game 2 of a potential 3. Chris Doran, the radio voice of the crew, one of our favorites. Appreciate you hopping on, giving us a couple minutes, my friend.
Love you, Doc. We'll talk to you on Sunday.